Welcome back to Decked Out Jon Boats. We're going to be joined again by Craig Gordon. He's going to fill us in on the history of Pure Watercraft, how he became associated with the company, and we're going to get to see some footage of his boat on the water. Y'all hang around to find out more. Let's talk a little bit about how you came across Pure Watercraft.
History there is the way it got started. Of course, like yourself, guys in your club, always doing research. Always looking for any competitive advantage, whether it's a lure, a rod, a line, a motor, the boat. So I was getting up to that time with a bunch of guys, or looking at the I already had the torque 10s coming in, the dual torques, dual rays, new rays, etc. So it's about, it's almost getting in that normal cycle when you're starting to, either fall behind, need to do a technology refresh, whatever, just like your other stuff at home. So I started looking around, and anyway, stumbled upon Pure through a bunch of different searches and stuff like that. And the way it really got contacted them was really, I remember basically just hit looked at their website and did a bunch of reading about their history and owner and everything else like that. And it's like, okay, I need to start asking some questions, start digging in a little deeper. So I just hit basically the contact us on their website. And I remember actually doing that one a late one night. It's like 9-10 o'clock. Started typing. Of course, start off with something basic. Can I get more information? And that's just typically not like me. It's like, okay, more than that. So I wrote. By the time I got done, I had about 15 questions, and gave the history of our club, history of competing motors in the area, and a bunch of other factors, a little bit of my background, etc. So but anyway, I asked all these questions, and what was amazing, to my surprise, that like I said, I think I sent that into their website about 9 or 10 o'clock on a Saturday evening, and I get up every morning, probably like a lot of fishermen. I get up 4 o'clock still every morning, almost every morning of the year, and either to exercise or fish, or just to keep that 4 o'clock time. So I got up 4, grabbed some coffee, opened my email, and there's a response to my questions. Not just a simple response, hey, we'll get back to you, or a little bit of information on either price or power or something like that. It was a detailed answer to every single one of my 15 questions.
Wow.
And it came from Andy Reveley, who's the CEO, owner of Pure Watercraft. So every single one of them. It's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's awesome that he took the time to not only read the email, but to make a detailed response to every question.
Right. And answered every one of them with more detail than you ever wanted. And the answers were very impressive. And the fact that it responded, took that time and everything. And actually, it started out in just a little bit of history. The first line was, Craig, sorry, we're really kind of getting to this like one day late. I was just in your area. And I think he was responding as he was in flight back to, they're based out of Seattle. And I was like, what? No, you weren't. It's like, I'm in Baltimore. It's like, I know where your company is. They're thinking in my head, I know where you are. You're in Seattle. And I was like, you weren't here. And what would you do in Baltimore? In our area. And it turned out they were competing. And I think it competed prior in it's called the Y Island Electric Boat Challenge, I think is the exact name of it. But it's unbeknownst to me, it's been going on since I think 2011, maybe further back than that. But they've had this competition that um, all electric boats, and it's for anybody to join. So if you watch some good videos that just look for Y Island Challenge or Pure Watercraft, something like that. I don't know if you've seen them, but they're great. But it's almost like anybody that can, push, tug, get anything electric in the competition, and all these innovators, weekend warrior guys or innovators, whatever. So they've a lot of non-production, not a Ray, not a Torque guys that have created motors for years and put them on top, and they got specially built motors. Boats that
Wow.
they put them on, and it's a race that goes. It's almost in. It's not straight in the main Chesapeake Bay, but it's just one off of it in a main branch, and they need to run in some pretty open water, and it's 12 miles. It's a 24-mile race, and I believe it's like 12 miles up. You got to stop for 10 minutes. They just want you to rest. Maybe you have time to switch some electric over or something like that. You break for 10 minutes and then haul it back, and that's the
Wow.
race. But it's I would not want to even run my boat in there if it's not a calm day.
Right. Yeah, I'll definitely have to look into that. That's not something I've heard
but,
of.
but yeah, but look at it. And that day, and I think he responded in that email that Andy said they broke the record. They ran so fast with their pure motor, they beat the all-time record by like a half an hour. I'm talking,
Wow.
it was normally like 2 hours and 11 minutes or something like that, and they ran it in like an hour and a half or something. But they ran it so fast that when they got done, nobody was there waiting for them because they didn't expect anybody back that soon. So it was kind of anticlimactic to come back, and it's like we're
Wow.
here. So yeah, but watch that Y Island Electric Challenge, and you can see them take off, and the boat that they were running. So it's really cool.
So how much did the model that you got and put on your boat change from what they ran in that race?
Um, Not a lot because so actually, if I finish up just history with
Okay.
them, this will tie right into that. Is that they um, I ended up going from there, and I actually um, you know, had a lot of exchange, more email exchanges with them, and I actually visited their shop up there in Seattle twice. Actually visited, and they walked me through, and we had more discussions about just where they're going, direction of it. They even asked me for some input on design. What do you think about this, or what are your thoughts? So, which is good. So actually, even before that, after they answered the questions, I told them, said, you know what, the only thing would be, running it on your boat or this other boat that you do up in Seattle. That's, what would be better for any of us is always, I'd really like to run it on my boat and see what it does. So I was like, as painful, thinking in my head, as painful as this will be to take all my lead batteries out of there. Yeah, it's backbreaker that I'm willing to do that. If you guys will run your prototype motor up or bring it to me, I said, I'll rip everything out of my boat and we can prototype it here in Maryland, on my
Wow.
boat. That's what'll be more convincing for me, some input to anybody else, in the area looking. So we actually did that. That was only a couple months after we had the emails back and forth about the Y Island and my exchanges, and which was right after they were here for the Y Island Challenge. But so they drove up. I think that they were down in Florida, or at least had one of the motors. But within weeks, we arranged, to have one come up, and with Chris, from their company, Chris Clark. Thanks for coming up and drove up, and we did a prototype, run, and we actually filmed that, posted some things out there. So
That
that
was
was, of course,
that
that's more convincing than saying, you know, giving me specs and how it might run on any other boat. When you actually run, back then, again, prototype motor, and it, when you run 14 miles an hour or even 16 that day for the first time, and you've only run over, around 8.4, 8.6 at the time. it feels like a rocket ship.
Yeah.
So I was like, yep, I think that might do it.
So what was it?
So
What was it like the first time you pushed that throttle down? Did they let you just unleash the beast to start with, or
yeah,
did you kind of have to like let them dial everything in, or?
no, I was, and the Pure setup is so quick. Really, you can put that thing on the back of your boat and have it all hooked up in 15 minutes. Really, it's that quick because it's very simple. Just one connection into the batteries. Honestly, it's click. Think of it like an electric or fueling electric car. You're just clicking it in, to get a charge. It's just like that, connecting the batteries with that same similar connector, and then that connector goes into the motor, and you're done. But and then one to the throttle. So it's really can't get any simpler versus custom cabling, all your lead batteries, cutting them, crimping them, and I do all my own work on everything. Always have. So like everybody, pretty much almost have to do that. But and I have all that wiring and everything, but we put it all together real quick. I actually let Chris. I was actually almost afraid to run it, so I actually let them drive it first. So they really took it out. But when I finally got to drive it myself, then it was just like I said, it's like driving a rocket ship. Um, but that's some things right there. Instantly could tell that the prototype doesn't have a tilt and trim on it, and I had tilt and trim on my boat and jack plates and everything, but took all those off. So I could tell then, we noticed some things, sucking some air. So I knew it needed to be lower. It's just my boat, set up. So needed that. The tilt and trim, well, with a glass boat, you can't, it's hard to get even with a 150 horsepower motor on, it's hard to get a boat up on plane if you're not trimmed properly. So like, really need the trim on there, which they added as well. So some things like that, but you learn a lot. And they are in the middle of their whole, it's a whole normal innovation process. So
Right.
it did a prototype, went through a prototype. We're part of I'm a partner. A bunch of others are part of a beta process, and that's what the beta testing. That's what they're in, phase they're in right now. So it's a lot of learning, but you get advantage of that is you get to provide some input on anything, the throttle, whatever. Don't like the data that's coming back or what it looks like or this and that, could you possibly change that? Or so they're good. You see a lot of response and changes that they're working on. It's all software driven, so it's good to be part of that process.
Thank you for hanging out with us at Decked Out Jon Boats. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button below, along with that bell icon, so you're notified anytime there's a great video from Decked Out. In the next video, we will be back with Craig Gordon. He's going to fill us in on more of his thoughts on Pure Watercraft. We'll get into some more details and to tell us what he thinks of the other electric outboards on the market.